What we want to look at here is the blurring and sharpening tools of Photoshop. There are a number of different ones in different places, often in your scanning software. You have those as options as well. And first we have the blurring tools. This is, realize the little submenu has gone off the side of your picture frame there. We've got a number of them, and down towards the bottom there's the Smart Blur, and that's a fairly new tool, which is a terrific one. Remember that blurring is what it is. It is not going to necessarily make things better. So you need to be very careful about how much and how you use blurring and sharpening tools. We'll bring up this called the Smart Blur, and this is a pretty good new tool. And once again, what will happen is you've got the radius and you've got the threshold, and you really just need to play with it. And the general rule that I want to pass on with all of these kinds of tools is a little bit goes a long way. So don't overdo it, because it'll obviously look like it's not natural or real. And so just be very careful what you do there. You've got, again, down here, you've got quality, low, medium, and high. And you've got what they talk about, a couple of different characteristics here. So this is one that can be pretty useful. Whenever you get the preview for all of these tools, you have a little plus sign and a minus sign here, so you can zoom in and see just exactly what it is that you're doing, and get a handle on the effect. So the Smart Blur is one that you can utilize. Another one for fixing photographs and is really blurring tools is the under noise. Again, you got to slide over, but we have despeckle and we have dust and scratches. Despeckle and dust and scratches, and both of these can be used to clean up, but once again what they are in effect is blurring tools. And so you have to be careful how much you use them. In particular, pull up the dust and scratches, and you can see very quickly when you click the preview, look at this image here, you can see how much and how quickly it can really distort your image. Look at that, dramatically. So you need to be really careful how much 1 or 2 pixels you use. It may start to clean up the background, but it clearly blurs the image itself. And then again we have the threshold. The threshold seems to almost bring back the detail and the scratches and things. So again, you need to be careful of what you do here. It may very well be that for something like this you'd be better off using a selection, making a selection, especially on the background, and either we're going to be talking about in the next video the cloning tools and actually cloning this area, or if you're going to use the scratches, dust and scratches, you select the area so that the change is isolated to the background and not in this case to the guy on the screen, so that when I do this, oh well, here, yes, it's going to start to fix the background, but we haven't blurred or lost anything in the photo area itself. So that might be a much better way to go in terms of trying to fix this thing up. we also have the sharpening tools, and the sharpening tools do just as they say. They sharpen, but what they really do is exaggerate the edges of the pixels, the different colors of pixels, and so it appears to make it crisper and sharper. With sharpening, you need to be very careful. There's a tendency to overdo it. And once again, we have several different sharpening tools down near the bottom here. We've got Smart Sharpen, which is a new tool, and it seems to be a pretty sophisticated tool, because we can, for instance, go to this advanced button here, and we can apply sharpening to the shadows or to the highlight areas. And so we can actually get more focused on just what it is that we do, as well as the again, the basic sharpening tool. And so you want to be careful, once again, because when you get too much sharpening going on, I'm going to really ramp it up, and you see literally how it really exaggerates and almost puts a glow around the edges of things, and so clearly it does not look realistic. And so you want to be very careful how much of this kind of business that you in fact apply when you're working with an image. So I would be careful to not get too much going on there. Then another tool, back up to the same area, Sharpen. The one that traditionally has always been talked about as the tool to use is the Unsharp Mask. Just the name of that sounds counterintuitive, but the Unsharp Mask has always, from what I've heard from other folks and books that I've read, is the tool to use. This new one that we just looked at may also be useful, but compared to the others that have been around for a while, the Unsharp Mask is the one to use. And once again, you don't want to go nuts with this and overdo it, because that's where you run into trouble. Again, look, I start to get that very weird kind of look. Even if I don't do it that much, you can see sort of what you get on a copier when you try to contrast an image too much. It almost has a glow around it. I once went to a workshop where the fella said, with the Unsharp Mask, if I could give you any general guide, he said, remember 150. 150. That represents, don't go more than 100% on the amount, and don't go more than 5 on the radius, and leave the threshold at 0. And so 100, 5, 0, 150. In other words, he said that might be kind of a marker that you might find helpful. And I find that generally I don't go much over 100%, because it just does too much distortion, if you want to call it, to the image. And so also it's often recommended that if an image needs to be sharpened up a bunch, sharpen it a little bit and then resharpen it, rather than doing it in one big chunk. You'll get a little bit more of a natural look by doing it in a couple of steps in smaller quantities. So there's another thing to keep in mind. And the last point I want to make is, with any of the filters, anytime you use a filter, any one of these, that filter and the setting for it that you used will automatically be right here at the top of the filter's pull down menu. Dust and scratches. So this is a way to reapply a filter to another image or to the same image in the exact same amount. So you will always have whatever the last filter you just used and its settings here at the top, and you can just, the short command on the Mac is Command F. On a PC that would be Control F, and you can reapply that exact same filter without having to go back to the dialog box. So that's a pretty nifty little shortcut that you may find helpful. And there you have it.